If I say right. Okay. Stay around. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to talk to you about something that I think is unique, probably not just in Australia, but anywhere on this planet. Some gentlemen approached us a few months ago and put to us the idea of running a 3-day event. At the time, we thought, yeah, that sounded quite interesting, but there was always one issue, which was people have often contacted us, haven't they, Evan, on different times with ideas. But there's practicalities in arranging and organising and funding anything. Well, it turned out this time round, it was funded by a gentleman by the name of Wayne, who actually has a long history in event management and is still doing it to this day. And we've been in contact with him on many occasions, and we've sort of held back for quite some time because we've been down this path, haven't we, mate? Yeah. So many times with different events. And to be honest, it was such a brilliant idea. I've got to be honest, I really didn't think it would work, but it turns out it is going to happen. There's going to be a full page ad up in New Dawn coming up in a couple of days, and in the next edition of Nexus will be in there too. The place has been booked, paid for. Insurance is being paid today. I was just speaking to him about this now, just before I came down. And what is it? Now, what makes this different is we were approached and we were asked to put together and invite a series of speakers based around the theme called The Awakening. And The Awakening was talking about the fact that our planet that we're living in is going through a massive upheaval, and many, many people, and I know Duncan Rhodes has put it up on his editorial, hasn't he, mate? He's talking about his senses there's a change. And we were involved in a ceremony at Uluru. And by the way, there is actually the promo up has got a picture of Uluru in the background, which is very fitting because there was a ceremony held by elders there, supplemented by somewhere between 15 to 20 million people about 3 years ago, that turned the planet on. And if people haven't noticed, the Schumann resonance over the last 3 years has often gone off the charts and can't be measured for days on end. And the planet is starting to, renew itself. And primarily the story with this change that was taking place is the whole of this planet is going to continue, that vibration is going to intensify and then lock in at an incredibly high level. And the idea is that all the animals on this planet are welcome to participate. But one animal, which are the human beings who created the mess, have to earn a ticket to ride. Now, you've heard us talk about that quite a few times before. Well, what we were asked to do was to select speakers that could fit into that actual theme. Now, that in itself is unusual around here because normally when conferences are held, they grab a selection of different speakers who talk on a variety of topics. Now, the difference this time around is because we've done about, 35 or 36 online conferences now?
Yeah, we got one coming up soon, actually.
Yeah, we do, and we'll talk about that soon enough. We had a lot of people to draw from, and what I wanted to do was select people, or Evan and I did this together, who fitted into that theme. But we went even further. We tried to make it so that each person would have one aspect of this story, then the next one would have another aspect, and we set it up in a way that when they're speaking, everything runs off each other. And there are central themes within it, which is one is as on top, and that's about the fact that the off-worlders. The aliens are involved and we're waiting for this change in the planet and this evolution, and they're involved in that. And our last three speakers, which is Leah, Mary Rodwell, and ourselves, will talk about that aspect one after the other. And that will be one aspect, one section of what we're going to talk about. And at the start, we're going to do an introduction. And then who's going to follow us is Darren McElroy, because he's going to talk about our elder that gave us the right to go out on the country to do our archaeology, and also the type of leaders we need in the future. And Kano is not like the leaders we have at the moment, is he, mate?
It's different.
He's a little bit different. And in the future, when the earth changes, the ones we have today, and you'll look at them in the future, and people look at these in the future in time to come and say, why did they pick these people? They're pathetic. And they are, because they're beholden to the system that is falling apart. And the more that falls apart, the harder it is for them to do anything effective. And they do nothing effective at the moment. This is about a change. So we've got many original people involved in this, and we have some non-original people. We have Paul Anthony Wallace, Mary Rodwell, and they'll be taking on aspects of this story, of this dreaming that's reappearing. Now, here's the trick with this. When you put on a 3-day event, normally the cost is, and let's be honest, it's $1,000, $1,500. Well, the gentleman that was running this had a completely different motivation for doing this, and it wasn't a profit, was it? No, he actually is driven by this on a spiritual level and a personal level, because he knows this is an important thing to do. So the cost is under $300. It's from $250 for the early birds to $290 later on. And we are looking at the moment, he spoke about this today, for people who can't come to the 2 days when we're talking, and we'll talk about that in a sec. There'll be 1-day tickets as well, and that'll be set up as we go along. Now, what we're going to do is, for the 2 days, we've got a massive hall that can take up to 1,000 people. And we're going to, each person is going to be speaking for 1 hour. We have little breaks after each hour. Now, the deal is there's also going to be roughly 100 stalls and all sorts of things going on as well, supplementing this. And if you decide, look, I want to go and do the stalls for a while and I'm going to miss one speaker, that's cool, because after each speaker, there's a break before the next one comes in. And after every 2 speakers, we have a longer break where people just get up and walk around for a bit like at school where we have 2 periods and you go out and have little lunch and stuff like that. We're doing it the same way. And of course, obviously, I'm a teacher, and so is Wayne, by the way. So that's how we're setting it out. Now, it's going to be at Bundaberg. It's in the winter solstice, and it is it's as cheap as it could be. This is not being done, and some people have complained and said, oh, you're ripping everyone off.
Yeah, is that one, or what local elders and custodians are involved? Well, you can look here, their logos are actually on the poster.
The logos are up, and by the way, on the Thursday night, the first night, what locals involved, they will be there to open the whole damn thing. And I want to make another point. It's a very important point. This is the first time a conference was held conditional. And when we were approached, we said, we'll get these people. And the people we asked are always speakers, and they said exactly the same thing. Have the elders on country agreed to it? I said, they're working on that. And I told them all, if we don't get the agreement, if they aren't fully behind us, we're not doing it. Well, I can tell you now, they wrote back and they are fully behind us. They want this to happen. So those people criticizing and saying, well, you can't do this because you don't have permission. We wouldn't have done it unless we did have permission, and we do. And guess what? On the first night, which starts at 6 o'clock, they will be there. Not all the other speakers. They will stand back while they welcome us to country and open the whole event. And they'll be there, and we'll just have a get-together on that after that for a while, a couple of hours, just meeting people and talking, and just to create that tribal communal atmosphere where everyone is on song. So let's make this very clear. If they did not agree to this, this would not happen. It is the only way this can happen. Now, each of our speakers, and yes, the great majority of them, I think our ratio is 8-4, isn't it, Evan? Yeah, 8 original speakers. We've got MCs, Myra Fordham and another lady called Kylie Wilson.
Yeah.
They will be the MCs. They're both original. We've got Arnie Trudy Roberts, Jan Damara, Smacker Wyman, Darren McElroy, Murray, Uncle Alan Parsons. And guess what? Every name I just gave you is original. And most of them are quite local. And if they're not local, we've got one person, Smacker Wyman, who's a Mudawunji man, and he's going to talk about culture that way. And we did that because we've got two people coming from the far north coast, and we're really sort of part of Queensland anyway. We needed to get someone that wasn't just a bit further away. Otherwise, they would have said, this is just a Queensland story, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Far north coast and all Queensland. We did that just to make sure. We've got Sarah Bignell will be there. She's going to talk about Yowies because quite a few of our original people said, you are going to talk about them? So of course we are. We're going to do this old way. We're inviting you to come along. Now, the reason why it is so cheap is, number one, this profit is not the major goal here. The goal is to get this up. We wanted to make it cheap so a lot of people who like to go to conferences can't get there.
Yep.
This is how it works. Let's just say you want to come along and you've got to pay $250 if you get the early bird ticket, and that gets you the whole 3 days, 3 nights and 2 days. If you turn up there and you've got a car, guess what? Park it in there because there's camping there. And we've covered the camping in the ticket. You don't pay for that. Now, if you want to bring your own food along, bring that too. That's okay. We've got stalls and we'll be making food and we'll be selling it cheap. Don't worry about that. We want people to come that normally can't come. And that's why we've made it $250 to $290. Now, that's still a bit of money. I get that, and I don't deny that for a sec. But guess what? It's not that much. You've got months to save it up. It's not that much. It's a bit, but it's not that much. And those 3 days, I guarantee you. Now, at an end, during the nighttime, when we finish the talking, there's going to be sort of cultural ceremonies and different sorts of workshops, and you've also got the stalls as well. So it goes into the night, okay? It goes into the night as well. And we're inviting you to come along. It's going to be at Bundaberg, and it's going to be in the middle of winter. It's the winter solstice. That means it's the shortest days, isn't it? By 5 o'clock when we finish the talking, it'll be nearly actually nighttime, won't it?
Yes.
But number one, yes, it's winter, but it is central Queensland, which is a lot different to central Tasmania for winter. Much more bearable. Number two, more important than that, it is the winter solstice, which is an important time for spiritual reasons and for a lot of different other reasons that run with that. So that's why that was chosen. But most importantly, it has been backed by the local original people and people throughout Queensland that are part of this. And we've got great speakers here that are going to give a fantastic story.
So the trolls out there, you can go back underneath your bridge and hang out underneath the bridge.
Because we've done these things properly. We've made it as cheap as we can. We got permission of the elders before we advertised or spoke to anyone. Then I had to be convinced that this was going to be legit. And Wayne has committed his heart, soul, and wallet to this, and he's absolutely committed to having this succeeding. And what we're doing right now, and we'll stop about now. I didn't want to make this too long. I haven't made it clear.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention 2 other things before we finished as well.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, let's have a look at my little banners. What else did I have here? Oh, yeah. So I suggest people go check this out. It came out last week. It was on the Joe Rogan Experience. So it was Graham Hancock versus Flint Dibble. I said dribble. But a Freudian slip. But yeah, I'm well past halfway. It's 4.5 hours, but it's pretty amazing. It's definitely worth watching. You get to see
mainstream versus in a long
alternative.
Debate. Yeah.
And we have experienced a lot of bias against
what
us.
Graham's gone through virtually everything he said. We said, yeah, we never done that one.
You know how people yell at the television when they're watching sport? You know, yell things and, you know, get involved. I yell in these moments watching these shows because I don't actually watch sport. one of the few Australians that's not really into sport. But this, I'm yelling at the television. I can't watch it before I go to sleep because I get too worked up. But that's not going to be everyone, but that's me who's experienced a lot of that resistance as well. But I definitely recommend checking it out. And I'll get you to watch it, and at some point we'll actually do a proper commentary on it.
Yeah.
What else is going on? Yes, so I just got this.
Paul Anthony Wallace is going to be doing 2 sessions, and he's going to be talking about the real story about Christianity, the Bible, and what it really means. And I've got to start by saying, if you look at the last one there, is that an astronaut up there, Evan? Because he makes it very clear we've really got the wrong story here. And we brought him in because in this change, in this awakening, we need to get the right story about the dominant religion that actually underpins Western society, because it's completely misunderstood. And what Paul is talking about is so much in accord with everything we're talking about. And that's why we've chosen so many different people that can come at this from different points of view. So we've got Paul Anthony Wallace doing one of his very few talks in Australia. He doesn't do many here. And he particularly wanted to do one with us. That's why we're doing it together. And then we've got Mary Rodwell, who is, we all know, is one of Australia's probably most foremost expert on the mob up there. We've tried to get the very best people in Australia all together on one occasion to talk about a very important event, and we're inviting you to come along to it. It will be stunning. It's been quite difficult to put together. It's been very difficult for Wayne, who's running the whole event. All sorts of dramas have taken place. He's been attacked quite a lot from people who've never read our work and said that we're all sorts of horrible things. But I want to make one point about that. We work on behalf of Kano Walker, Ramanjeri Elder, and probably one of the most important original people that ever walked or was part of this country. And we walk on behalf of him, and he is the one who gave us the right to do what we're doing. And of course, we're going to be talking about Kano a lot, because Kano, when we ever talk about anything, Kano is always mentioned because he has to be. So, ladies and gentlemen, a very important event taking place at Bundaberg. It's very thematic, it's very original, and it's all about the change that's taking place. And we'd love to see you there. Hopefully, you'll be coming.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you all very soon for our next conference, which is coming up. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.